Hi, I'm Peter Lake, trainer and coach for Science Impact, and I'm here to share some tips about how to give an effective scientific presentation. The most effective presenters today, they connect on three levels. They connect to their message, they connect to themselves, and they connect to their audience. In this video, I will explain how to connect to your message by using storytelling techniques. In the second video, I will cover how to connect to yourself with using mindfulness techniques. And in the third video, I will show you how to connect to your audience by using a communication approach called relational presence. Connecting to your message takes place during the preparation stage. What does it mean to connect to your message? It means you really believe what you want to share and you're sharing it with passion and purpose. And you should have just one message. You can use the beginning of this sentence to help you formulate it. At the end of my presentation, I want the audience to understand or remember that. The that, it forces you to formulate your message in one sentence only. And once you have a clear message, you then need to think about who your audience is in order to connect and engage them. What are their expectations? What do they want or not want to hear? Are they experts or non-experts in your field? If non-experts, you will need to use less jargon so that they understand you better. What do you want them to think after your presentation? Once you have your message and you've analysed your public, you need to then think about how you will communicate all the data in a way that is engaging and memorable. The issue is that although the data is credible, it can also be very dry and boring, so not very relatable. What's more, the audience's attention spans are dwindling, so it's important you find a different approach. One such approach is storytelling. Why stories? Well, we all like stories. What's more, our brains are hardwired to remember stories because they exploit the way we think. In stories, there is always some emotion, concrete rather than abstract concepts, and cause and effect links. This last point, cause and effect, is very important when it comes to scientific presentations. Because if you just give one piece of data after another piece of data, your audience will not be able to pay attention for very long. It's information overload. Linguistically, it's like using and, piling too much information onto your audience, instead of and, but, and therefore, which makes the data much easier to digest. For example, we can all tell stories, and stories exploit the way we think naturally, but scientists are skeptical of stories. Therefore, we need to tell stories that honour both the science and the audience. What's important to point out is that we're not talking about stories as fantasies, but as a way of structuring your communication so as to make it relatable and memorable for your audience. So, how to make a good story? All stories have the same structure or pattern. Stories all contain characters, a hero or heroine. It can be you or one of your elements in your presentation. A story contains something we call a narrative, a sequence of events unfolding over time. It contains some moment of conflict, a crisis, a problem to be solved. And that tight spot creates suspense, which holds our attention and keeps our interest. And finally, a story resolves that tension, and the resolution of the tension gives the story meaning. In a scientific context, the structure of stories fits well with the IMRAD model. You can quite literally tell your research as a story. In the introduction, you introduce the main elements of your research and the problem or hypothesis. In the methodology and results section, you narrate what you actually did and how. In the discussion and conclusion section, you present the resolution of the problem or confirmation of your hypothesis. However, while telling your story, it's important to consider the two most important moments: the hook and introduction, and the conclusion with your takeaway message. What is a hook? The hook allows you to get the attention of the audience at the very beginning of your presentation. And we can do this in a number of ways. For example, we can use an anecdote, it can be personal or not, a surprising statistic linked to our subject, a quotation from someone well known in our field, or an open-ended question. Opening your presentation with a personal anecdote can be very effective as a hook. To do this, there is a very simple 4-step process to follow. The first is the factual moment. Set the scene, where, when and who. Be very precise and speak in the present, as it's easier to involve your audience. The second is the emotion you felt at the specific time when something happened. This stage helps you to connect to your listeners on a human level. The third is the meaning of this moment or situation when you look back to it now. It's what you learnt. And the last step is the message. Why am I telling you this story now? What is the link with my subject and my audience? So, what's the take-home message of this video? Announce your message with clarity and precision. Think about your audience. What do they expect? What do they know? And don't overload with too much data. Tell a story. Take special care of the two important moments of your presentation, the hook and the conclusion. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video, where I will be speaking about connecting to yourself.